Welcome, students. In this video, we're going to focus on parental investment as a part of our bigger umbrella of topics under reproductive strategies. So let's take a look. All right, parental investment. And this material comes from the Mother Nature textbook that you have, chapters 4 and chapters 8. And so I'll introduce parental investment in this video. Well, what is parental investment? What is it? Well, it's what you think it is, right? Parental investment is the time, energy, resources that parents must invest into their young, right? And parental investment can include a whole variety of things. It can include the mating effort that a parent must make before their young are born. So for some animals, there's elaborate courtship behaviors that are used in mating. So think about stickleback fish who have elaborate courtship dances. A male in stickleback fish, first, before even doing the courtship dance to a female, has to establish a territory and build a nest. And then he has to win a mate, so he has to court a mate. These are all investment costs. And gamete contribution is a huge cost. Females invest a lot in their eggs relative to males. Males invest some in sperm. But eggs are very costly to make, energetically costly for females to make them. And in fact, the fact that eggs are much more costly than sperm to make influences mate choice. Females are likely to be choosier about their mates because they're investing more in a mating than males are. Females are investing their gametic contribution, the big yolk-filled eggs that they've made. Those are energetically expensive. Males are investing essentially sperm. And so we'll talk about that in our next lecture. But parental investment also involves raising the offspring, right? And this often falls to, but not always, mother. In mammals, some things fall to mother always. Gestation and lactation are a female task, a mom's task, if you will, right? So in humans, gestation is, of course, about 9 months long. During a typical pregnancy, a mom needs to use 80,000 calories, that's big C calories, of energy. It's very calcium depleting, and that's interesting. It's then after the baby is born, mom then lactates. That's also energetically expensive. It's something like 650 calories a day that mom needs to give an offspring. And mom may lactate in today's world for maybe a year, but in our evolutionary history, about 4 years of lactation. And then there's the act of actually raising the young in other ways. So as an infant, you're picking up and carrying that young for years, basically, carrying around a heavy young. You're taking care of and provisioning that young for years and years and years. Raising offspring is energetically expensive. What kinds of questions must be raised with respect to parental investment? Well, we might ask, how much do animals invest? Is there ever a time to terminate an investment in offspring? Who's going to care for the young? When should an animal commit fully to the young? Always? Anytime they're pregnant? Or should an animal be able to terminate or abandon young under certain conditions? Is that a better strategy, if you will? Other strategies that have evolved, you start to recognize trade-offs. Trade-offs because parents and offspring face conflicts. Essentially, parents want to raise as many offspring as they can successfully. And sometimes they need to make trade-offs about how much to invest in a single offspring, if you will. And so we're going to take a look at those trade-offs. Trivers came up with parental investment theory in 1972. Trivers said that parental investment is any investment in an offspring that increases the offspring's chance of survival at the expense of the parents. And by at the expense of the parents, we mean the expense of their ability to survive or invest in future reproductive efforts. So there's this trade-off that's happening. And lots of different organisms have evolved different strategies for dealing with this trade-off. And those strategies often reflect differences in ecology, differences in social structure, differences in life history pattern. And we're going to take a look at those. Before we go here, I wanted to show you this diagram I pulled out of some research. It's a diagram that focused on the number of offspring raised by different birds and why some birds raise fewer offspring than others. And you can see in this big diagram, on the outer edge are all the ways that the birds can die. Nestlings can be preyed upon. Fledglings, little babies that have left the nest but aren't adults yet, have mortality. Adults have mortality. And inside, in the middle, you can see a variety of decisions that essentially have to be made and interactions that occur. And one of the things in the inside of this circle is parental investment. Parental investment is influenced by lots of factors, such as adult mortality, for example. It affects other things as well. So parental investment is clearly all about how much total parental effort needs to be made, and about clutch size, how much should I invest in a single clutch, or in how many offspring should I have? Should I have fewer offspring or more offspring? And of course, parental investment is going to have an effect on the growth of the young. And these are some of the factors up here that show the growth of the young. Okay, either way, we're going to take a look at some of the strategies that have evolved in different animals, in different animal systems, with respect to parental investment. Thanks. Let's see.